Stephanie Francis Ward with the ABA Journal. Today we're at annual meeting talking to Matt Braun, a law librarian at the Library of Congress, and he's going to tell us about free legal research. Hi Matt, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie, very much.
What I want to ask you about first is, are there some legal sites that offer free legal research that maybe a lot of lawyers don't know about?
Well, there are some very good sites out there. Of course, I'm going to first talk about the sites that the Law Library of Congress supports. We have a wonderful product called the Guide to Law Online, which is available from our website, which is www.loc.gov/ and the word law. Can also be linked from you can also find it from the Library of Congress's main site. And if you scroll down the page a little bit and go to that, that's a portal for freely accessible legal information for basically every country on the planet, as well as all the jurisdictions in the U.S., so all the states and the territories. And that's very important because there's a lot of good information for both primary and secondary law that's linked from that site. The other site that's very important to the Law Library of Congress is the Thomas website, which is the federal legislative information site that we have, where you can find information on the bills that have been introduced in Congress and also the public laws. Since about 1989, everything is up there right now.
Let's talk about Thomas some more.
Sure.
Do you have any tips for lawyers about using Thomas in a more efficient manner?
One of the aspects of Thomas that I like a lot and I think is very good is the advanced search option from the home page. It's near the top of the Thomas website, and what that allows attorneys to do is search bill text for multiple Congresses all at once, so more of a federated search across multiple Congresses, or to hone in on one or two Congresses, let's say, if they're interested in legislation that was proposed in one Congress but maybe didn't have the support to be passed into law and then carried over to the next Congress. I can see how the language changed in the bill and basically what committee work was done on it, and I think that can be very important. The other thing that's very important about Thomas is what we call the bill summary and status page for the various bills, where you can get links to the congressional record, to the committee reports, which is very important if you're interested in the legislative history, which sometimes, particularly those who are interested, those who are practicing in federal court, I should say, are sometimes interested in the legislative history, getting some context behind why a statute came into being.
So I think that's something that a lot of lawyers want to know, especially litigators. Are there any good free sites that tell you whether or not something is good case law and give page numbers?
Okay. There is one site that I'm aware of that is doing this. It's called Just Cite, and it's from Justice Publishing, which is a publisher in the United Kingdom. And I've worked with it a little bit, but to be honest with you, here in the United States, it still is Shepard's and LexisNexis and KeyCite in Westlaw that are typically used for verifying whether a case is still good law. Now, the good news about this is many law libraries out there, including a lot of publicly accessible ones, are now having some kind of public version of Lexis or Westlaw. The Law Library of Congress, for instance, has a version of Westlaw for public patrons where we do have KeyCite as an option, and attorneys can come in, those who are practicing in the Washington, D.C. area, and verify a citation using that product.
How receptive are judges to citing cases from free sites generally?
Well, I think as long as the information is good, I think that, from my understanding, that should be, that most attorneys say that, the important thing is that you have the right law that you're citing in a brief, or if it's on appeal, if you're arguing on a case, that you have a copy of the case that's from a reputable source. I will say that we still get attorneys that come into the Law Library of Congress who take the cases out of the print reporters, because there's something authoritative about the print reporters that I think to judges means something. But at the same time, particularly for some unreported cases, we do see judges even citing occasionally the Lexis and Westlaw, although I have always said to those who are practicing that if there is a published version in a print reporter, it might be a good idea to get a copy of that in case you're asked by the judge to produce it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you so very much.
I'm Stephanie Francis Ward, signing off for the ABA Journal.